welcome to the Wise Take DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I'm joined once again by one of Wise Take's finest DFS analysts, Mr. Johnny the Greek. You can find him on Twitter at GDaddy80, but he's better known across the nation as Johnny the Freak. Johnny, my man, how you doing on this Thursday night, brother?
Man, interesting, weird events for the slate tonight. But other than that, man, good. DFS baseball has been very good to us so far this year, and continued again today, even though I didn't expect that outcome today. But hey, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, man, it was definitely it was what it looked like on the outside, an ugly 4-game slate. But I know a lot of us kind of went lighter on the late one. We went a little heavy on the early. I know I was happy. I won enough on the early to make me happy. I know you won enough on the early to make you happy, and you won a little bit on the main. So all in all, another good night for the nation. Right?
Yeah.
There you go.
We got one of our nation members was one of the smarter guys that didn't actually play that way, so he probably did pretty well. He posted on Twitter, so he posted his lineup, so it looked pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. I like it. All right, Johnny, we're gonna keep the hot streak rolling. We got ourselves a big Friday night 14-game slate. 14-game slate. Typical
14-game slate. Yeah, we got one, but it's too early, so
right.
Not on the slate. The Twins Cubs.
Right. So any game out of 14-game slate that gets plucked away, I appreciate. So I'm not going to complain about this 5 o'clock game or whatever being left off. Anyway, man, let's do what we do. First up, we got Eric Fetty of the Washington Nationals visiting Nick Pivetta of those Philadelphia Phillies. Total here is 9, Philly minus 116. 90 degrees, 40% humidity. I know it is going to be hot in the Northeast. It's going to be hot here too. So, Johnny, what do you think?
Let's see.
Yeah, so Nick Pivetta, is an interesting option here in this game, but it's against Washington. I just don't really like to attack Washington here, in general with pitching. So I don't know if I'm going to go there. I'm going to keep him on my list here. I like his price. He'll definitely be on my list in case I can't find somebody, and I'll maybe circle back here. But the Eric Fetty experiment here is just not for me. I'm not going to go there tomorrow. Philly's been heating up, so I really don't want to attack them with a pitcher that's not been pitching so great this year. So I'm going to go ahead and fade that. Not really interested in attacking against Pivetta, but Pivetta might make my deep list here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, he has been pretty damn good this season. Much improved. He is 9-5. Tough matchup here against the Nationals. I think Pivetta normally, like last year, I think he was more on the reverse split side, but this year I think the lefties have gotten to him a little bit more. Not that he's given up much to either people. He's been very good, but eventually these Nationals are going to do the dirty. I know it. Eventually. I was laughing while you were talking because I looked in the YouTube chat and somebody just asked if I shave when I win big. I said, when you win big, do you shave? I shave just in case you guys are curious, because everybody always, thanks to Patio Joe, everybody always comments when I shave. And I shave once every, when my beard gets long enough to where it irritates me, I shave it. That's all. But Pivetta, I agree, is a maybe. Initially, it's going to be hot. A lot of lefties on the Nationals. Don't think I want to overcommit to him. And Fetty at 5-5, I keep falling for that trap, man, because I know he's supposed to be good, and maybe he's just not quite ready yet. But I always fall for that trap. But at 5-5, he does appeal to me a little bit. Problem is, we got a small park, 90-degree weather with some humidity. It's a very good hitting environment. Two pretty good hitting teams, right? The Phillies are pretty hot, Anyway, we'll move on to the next. Felix Pena of the Los Angeles Angels visiting David Hess of the Baltimore Orioles. Total here is 10. Baltimore plus 125 at home. 89 degrees, 46% humidity. Johnny, my man, what do you think?
Yeah, so we got Felix Pena, who's not terrible. I think he's a serviceable pitcher. I just don't like this price in this hitting environment, in this ballpark. So I do like the matchup, though. Orioles have not been the greatest, but they've been hitting a lot better as it's been warming up here. So You can go there. I'm probably not going to pitch Pena tomorrow. David Hess is obviously a no. And then I look at the Angels here that are just a huge favorite and on the road, and it's just like Mike Trout is still sitting here, and he's not been doing anything at all. And he hasn't got a price decrease. Like, he hasn't hit in like a week, and he's just not getting a price decrease. I just don't understand. Again, I don't think I can go here with Trout, even though it's a great hitting environment. This is a great spot for him. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research on him, as I've been fading him because of his injury situation. But we'll look into it because this is a great spot for all these Angels. It's a great Angels stack spot today against Hess. And on the other side here, you have Manny Machado's been heating up. We just saw one of the first trade pieces move today. Toronto traded away Steve Pearce. He's over in Boston now. And so you might see Manny Machado getting moved soon here with the trade deadline about a month away. But you might see Manny Machado getting moved soon. I've heard a lot of talk on that. So, I think Manny Machado is a great play here. Probably the only guy I'm really going to look at here in Baltimore. Just they've been really bad. Maybe if Kobe Rasmus cracks the top of the lineup today for a cheap value, maybe I'll go there. But other than that, it's really Angels and Manny Machado.
Yeah, I think looks like a great hitting atmosphere, small park. The Angels have a huge park boost here, as they did in Boston, but this is probably a little bit better because they got the weather behind them as well against a really terrible pitcher, David Hess. So yeah, I do like the Angels' bats. I'm with you. You've been onto that Mike Trout injury situation, and he hasn't looked right, and so I think that it'll be tough to pay the $6K for him, but obviously in tournaments you do multiple lineups, he's always worth putting on. Eventually he's going to start feeling a little better, and eventually he's going to wake up. Right now, something seems wrong. If you're doing one or two main teams, I don't think we could put him on there, even though it's a great atmosphere. But Upton, Kinsler, even Pujols, and obviously Simmons hit a home run today. Valbuena seems like he's in a pretty good spot. I do like the Angels, and I think I don't necessarily like Pena right now. I think that Baltimore's been somewhat hot. Like, even the league had a decent day, but he did get hit around a little bit. Ended up not getting the win. Baltimore came and fought back, so I think I lean with you, and both bats are definitely in play here. Eduardo Rodriguez, the lefty from the Boston Red Sox, visiting CC Sabathia of the New York Yankees. Total in this game sits at 9. The Yankees minus 120 at home, 90 degrees, 37% humidity. It's going to be hot in the Bronx. What do you got?
Yeah, so I can't go to either one of these pitchers tomorrow in New York. I think both of the offenses are in play. This has been a shootout all year long, all season long. Every year, these guys just go back and forth. I think that the game stack is definitely in play here tomorrow. Individual stacks too. You can do a game, team stacks, but I think a game stack here is perfectly in play. And it's the usual suspects. It's on Boston. You know where the runs come from typically. So I think you go, 1 through 5 is the preferred side there. Rafael Devers has been heating up. I talked about this a couple weeks ago where he's been getting hitting instruction from JD Martinez, and he's been crushing the ball. He crushed another one today, so he definitely, has a lot of upside here. So if you're once we get these lefties out here in the bullpen, maybe he's a viable bat. I don't really like him lefty on lefty, but if he gets a right-hander out here, maybe we can do some damage. So, I think, again, a game stack is perfectly fine, and it's both sides. Aaron Hicks, if he should be in lineup tomorrow. He's one of my preferred plays leading off. He's been hitting really well for the Yankees lately, so showing a lot of power, a lot of home runs, so his salary's gone up. So a little bit more expensive than I normally like to pay for him. I normally like to pay like the 3-4 up to like $4,000, but he's a little bit more expensive, but definitely worth it. And don't forget about Judge, Stanton, all those guys back here, and the Yankees going to get their DH back being at home. So different Yankee team at home with the DH, not a National League ballpark. I really like them tomorrow, and I think with the low totals, they're going to pretty much go low owns. So we'll see.
Yeah, man, I think the Yankees are in a phenomenal spot against Eduardo Rodriguez. Eduardo Rodriguez is a decent pitcher, don't get me wrong, but the Yankees are just lethal at home, and they're lethal against lefties. And both boxes are checked. So I'm gonna love the Yankees. Maybe it takes them a game to get going, being on the road. We know they have a tendency to go on like offensive funks on the road. I mean, they're still win. Don't get me wrong. They just don't hit as much as they do at home. So maybe, but I'm willing to take a chance that that's not the case, and that they're back home. It's really hot. Like, they're ready to play ball against the division rival, their most heated rival, the Boston Red Sox. So Yankee stack seems in play. Hopefully people are like kind of off because they haven't been so great. Eflin like dominated them the other day. Shout out to Paulie D. That was a good call. And the Red Sox struggle against lefties on the road specifically, but I don't know if I want to take a chance on CC, and I don't know if this is even really considered a road game. These guys play so much, and it's such a big rivalry game that, I mean, these guys always score runs. So I think I'm with you. I think that Boston and the Yankees make for a great game stack, as they normally do whenever they face off. Next up, Francisco Liriano, the lefty from the Detroit Tigers, visiting Marcus Stroman of the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays minus 178 at home. Total here is 8.5. 82 degrees, 49% humidity, and 10-mile-per-hour winds blowing out to right center if they open up the roof. It seems like a nice day. Maybe they will, but we'll have to see. What do you think?
Yeah, so Toronto laid out their cards today and basically are sellers. So they're starting to sell off pieces here. We could probably see maybe this line's pretty bad here, but we might see a couple more pieces moving from this team here in the next couple of weeks here. So, I don't have a ton of interest in the Detroit side tomorrow. Marcus Stroman is that two-faced monster. It's like, is he going to be the Marcus Stroman that can K10, or is he going to be the Marcus Stroman that's going to walk 10? It's a little bit different here. So I don't really have a lot of interest in Liriano for sure. I think with Stroman is going to be a wait and see, diving in a little bit more here. But Marcus Stroman might be a good matchup here against Detroit. He might be in play tomorrow. And then the Blue Jays here, I can't stack this, guys. I just think they're a bunch of crappy hitters. There's a couple good players still in here. The top of the lineup is fine, like Teoscar Hernandez, and Justin Smoke's been kind of slumping this whole year, so I don't know if I'll go there. I'd probably prefer Kendrys Morales at a cheaper cost. They're actually, only $100 difference, but I think I'd probably prefer to go to Kendrys. And Solarte's been pretty good this year. So for me, the main focus would be like Teoscar Hernandez. Just been hitting well all year, and I do have some interest in Marcus Stroman.
Yeah, I think Stroman at 6'3" at home against the Tigers, who have definitely been striking out a bit more as of late. We have to consider. Got the job done on his last start. Still didn't look great, but he got the job done. He has a great opponent. He's at home, and he's only 6'3". That's the big thing. We don't need him to go out there and dominate. We just need him to go out there and pay off his salary. So I do think that Stroman is in play on DraftKings at 6'3". I would much rather play Stroman at 6'3" than play Liriano at 6'2". I can tell you that. And I do think Toronto is worth considering. Like, I do prefer Toronto against righties, but because most of their best hitters, like, I prefer on the other side. Like Justin Smoke, like, doesn't have nearly as much power typically when he's on this side of the plate against lefties. So I do think Teoscar Hernandez seems great, but I will say that Randall Grichuk and Aledmus Diaz, even though I still prefer those guys against righties, like, they have been pretty hot. So I think we could look there for like value. But as far as the top of the order, I do think Teoscar Hernandez, like you said, is pretty much like a standout kind of one-off type play. If they open up the roof, things could change, especially because Liriano does have a tendency to walk people. So if he's not in there long, we'll see a bunch of right-handed guys from Detroit's bad bullpen come in. So Toronto's interesting. And I do think Stroman at 6'3" is definitely viable. Next up,
the one thing I was going to say is that the reason I didn't mention Grichuk is I'm so used to Steve Pearce being in this lineup when there's a lefty, and so like I didn't even think of him being in the lineup. That's fine. Yeah, Grichuk's a fine play tomorrow, and Diaz is always a great value saver. So you're totally right on those.
Right. Garrett Cole of the Houston Astros visiting Wilmer Font of the Tampa Bay Rays. Total in this game is 7. Tampa Bay plus 160. At home, we have a closed roof, of course, as we always do in Tampa. What do you got?
Yeah, so Garrett Cole, 13,000 is a lot tomorrow for him. There's a couple other pitchers there that are pretty good, so we might have to look at that. I'm not going to say he's not in play. I just don't really want to pay 13,000 for him tomorrow. Wilmer Font's a no for me. I can't play any of these Tampa Bay Rays bullpen crappy pitchers. If it's Yarbrough's the only guy I would be interested in. He pitched well again today, but other than that, I don't want to pitch any of these guys. It's like a carousel, and it's just not for me. It's not the way I like to play DFS, so I'm not going to go there. I think that the Houston bats are in play tomorrow. They really don't hit as well outside of home. I mean, they're a much better team at home than they are on the road, but Tampa could be a situation where they heat up. So I really like these guys today. Marisnik today, was pretty hot. He hit a home run again. He's had 2 big games in a row. So I wonder if he'll make the lineup here over Tony Kemp here, but I don't know. But yeah, I really like these Astros. A lot of the normal guys today had day off, so we'll see how that lineup comes out. No interest in Tampa. I will admit that there are going to be a couple guys here that could probably get to Cole tomorrow. Like CJ Crone or Jacob Bowers. Those guys got a lot of power. And, the pesky Matt Duffy, and Kevin Kiermaier at the top of the lineup here. Could probably give him some fits here, but Garrett Cole's a really good pitcher, so I think he'll be fine here. I don't think he's going to be my number one pitcher. I just like some other things going on, but he's definitely on my short list.
Yeah, I can see people just assuming that Cole's going to dominate because Lance McCullers did his thing today. And regardless, the numbers indicate the Rays, as Cam told us yesterday, the Rays are still like, 5th or 6th in the league in WRC plus at home, runs created at home. So, Garrett Cole, he's great, but I don't need too many reasons to not play Garrett Cole when his price is $13K. Like, that's already the first flag against him. You're $13K. Now you got a pesky Rays team. There's no guarantee that because McCullers did well today that Cole will. So I don't think I want to pay $13K for Cole. I'll say this about Font. I definitely don't want to pick on Font. Now, he did get a price increase at 5.9, and that's because they're obviously stretching him out. Like, they're turning him into a full-blown starter. Each start that he's had this year, he's actually pitched a little more like his pitches. So his first ever start was 2.1 innings, we'll start from June 8th. That's what we'll do. So from June 8th, he threw 2.1 innings, 48 pitches. His next start, 3.1 innings, 66 pitches. His next start was 4.2 innings, 74 pitches. And his most recent start, which was against the Yankees, and he actually had a very good game. He went 5 innings, 5 2/3, and he threw 80 pitches. So it does seem like they're starting to transition him into an actual starter. They're stretching him out. I still don't want to pitch him at 5.9 because it's the Astros, and if I'm going to play anybody against the Astros, it's got to be a lefty. I played Yarbrough today against the Astros, so I got no problem attacking him on the road at a big ballpark, but I don't like to do it with righties. But I do think that that's enough to get me off of the Houston Astros. Like, I have no interest in the Houston Astros in this big ballpark against a pretty decent pitcher who may last a little bit longer than we're used to. I just don't think I want to pay 5.9. Maybe, but as of now, I don't think I want to pay 5.9 to attack them because they just don't strike out a lot against righties. You know what I mean? It's like, but it should be an interesting matchup. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a little pitcher's duel there. If I was like going to Monmouth Park tomorrow because I'm in Jersey and it's legal there now, I would probably like put a little bit of money on the Rays at those odds. I think at those odds, I could put a little money on the Rays. Plus 167 dog. I could do that just a little bit. Just a little bit. Anyway, Jacob deGrom of the New York Mets, my New York Mets, visiting Sandy Alcantara, making his first MLB start for the Miami Marlins. Total in this game is 7, Miami plus 145 at home. It's always hot and humid in Miami, but they always close the roof, so I'm assuming they're going to do the same. Johnny, what do you got here?
Yeah, so, Jacob deGrom in Miami or Garrett Cole in Tampa. deGrom is $600 more, so that's the big question that we have so far here. I'd side with deGrom over him today. Like the matchup, like the ballpark. I think it's a little bit better for him. But deGrom has been just pitching out of his mind this year. I know he's had a couple outings out there that were less than stellar, but every pitcher gets there. But I think this is his best year as a whole as a pitcher. So I really like what he's been doing. So I think on this slate he's the ace that I would be looking at so far. So DeGrom will be the guy I want to pitch tomorrow. I understand the Marlins have been getting to some of these aces, but I'm not worried about it with Jacob DeGrom here. He's got elite stuff. I don't want these Marlins bats tomorrow. I don't want Sandy Alcantara as of right now. I got to look into him a little bit more, but I'm not really interested in the Mets here. The only thing that really takes me off of DeGrom as a whole, and it was just like when I pitched Zach Wheeler a couple days ago. Once it gets to the bullpen just has been giving up the game, so I haven't been getting the win. So it's definitely hard to pay $13,600 for a pitcher and not have a great chance of getting the win because of the bullpen. So if DeGrom doesn't go more than 8 innings here, 7 or 8 innings here, I'm afraid of the no win here. So that's the only concern I have for him. I don't know what you think. You're the Mets guy. Maybe you can shed some light on that for me. What do you think?
Well, it was like officially announced today that the Mets publicly said that they are willing to listen to everything. So like they're willing to listen to offers for Thor and DeGrom. So on the one hand, I do think DeGrom, like in the back of his mind, like he's thinking about this. So whether or not he wants to stay on the Mets, this is a chance. Like it may not be up to him. So he may be auditioning for some winning teams out there. Not that he needs to do much else. He's been a freak. But at 13-6 against the Marlins, I just think I would, in cash games, I would lock in DeGrom. You know what I mean? Like I would. But in tournaments, I think he's just a little too expensive. Like you said, the Mets have a hard time. Like the win is not guaranteed. The Mets have a very hard time winning games right now. I will say this Sandy Alcantara guy, like I looked him up on FanGraphs, and he doesn't look very good. 14 starts from AAA. He only had a 6.78 K per 9. He had a pretty high walk rate. He didn't give up a lot of home runs, but he had a 4.94 xFIP, so it seemed like maybe at some point he would have. So with that said, like maybe the Mets have a better chance of getting the win, but it's just there's no guarantees. Like they've been so bad, and I don't know how DeGrom doesn't have like 15 wins right now. Like it's just as good as he's been. And the other thing with DeGrom is if I'm going to pay in the 13s, I typically want him at home. He has shown stronger K upside at home. He's been more dominant at home. This is a great ballpark, don't get me wrong, but there is a little bit of a home factor with Jacob DeGrom, I believe. But 13-6, I think in cash games I would do it just to give me the floor. I do think he has a solid floor here. We did see what Greinke did to him, especially if Remuto's out. They've been really, really bad without Remuto. But in tournaments at 13-6, I'm a little worried. I think I want to find some cheaper guys. I think he might inhibit us a little bit too much with that price. And there's no guarantee that he hits the ceiling. And that's my analysis on Jacob DeGrom. But, I think Mets one-offs are fine. Would not do a full stack. But I could play a Nemo or really Conforto. Nemo's coming back from a finger injury. So I want to wait until I see him actually do it again. Asdrubal, I don't know if he's playing hurt, but he has looked off. And I know, like, a couple weeks ago, he tweaked his hamstring running to first, and, like, nothing ever happened. He didn't miss any games. He's kept playing. So I know if you have a hamstring injury, you're supposed to, like, not use it for a little while. So I don't know. Maybe he is playing a little banged up. But either way, like, it's just tough to want to play any of these Mets, especially in this ballpark, even against a bad Sandy Alcantara team. We have 14 games. So I think DeGrom is really the only thing I'm interested in. And, again, that's more of a cash game thing. In tournaments, I think I want to try to find some cheaper options. Next up, Johnny, we got Chase Anderson of the Milwaukee Brewers, Cam's Milwaukee Brewers, visiting everyone's favorite cousin, Sal Romano of the Cincinnati Reds. Total in this game sits at 9, Cincinnati minus 105 at home, 91 degrees, 51% humidity. Another very hot and very humid game in Cincinnati. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, so pitching the Reds pitcher was a thing today. With Discofani, is this going to be a thing for a cheap price again tomorrow with Sal Romano? We have gone there earlier this year in a similar matchup, and at $5,000, it's not the worst spot. I get it; the hitting environment is really good here, but with Eric Dames leading off and of these bats here, man, there's a bunch of strikeouts here. I know that they're not the old big strikeout team that they were. But again, they definitely K today. in a great matchup. They should have done much better than they did. I don't know if I can go here tomorrow with Sal Romano because he has been really bad this year as a whole, but he has been making improvements. I have no interest in Chase Anderson at $7,000. I don't know why he's that high. He's terrible this year. Scott Schebler today was out of the lineup here. I don't know if he's going to make the lineup tomorrow. I know he's hurt, but if he's here, he's definitely a great play leading off. Tucker Barnhart's always good as a catcher at leading batting second. So definitely a place you want to go. And Jose Peraza has really been impressive this year. Turning that corner, he wasn't a really big offensive threat last year, but this year he's definitely having a breakout year. So I really like him. And on the other side here, there's a lot of power here, man. There's Eric Thames, there's Ryan Braun, Aguilar, there's Shaw. There's a lot of power here, but we'll get a couple extra strikeouts here. I like that Keenan Broxton is back in the lineup here. He's a sneaky play for cheap power, so I always like him and a lot of speed. So he's one of those kind of guys who can get on base, get a stolen base, or he can hit a home run. So don't sleep on him tomorrow. He's probably my favorite play in this Brewers lineup just for the low ownership.
Yeah, man, I think the Brewers are heating up. One thing we know about the Brewers is they're very streaky. When they're hot, we want to play them, and they seem to be pretty hot. Christian Yelich got hurt, which kind of screwed a bunch of people today because he was like red hot before he came out in the first inning. So he might not be in the lineup. But Travis Shaw, I would wait on I want to wait till I see it. He's coming back from a wrist injury. Anything with the hand when you're swinging a bat, especially the wrist, it's going to affect your swing, your bat speed, all that good stuff. But Eric Thames, Ryan Braun, Aguilar just seems like a monster right now. I could even play VR against Romano. I do think the Brewers are strongly in play. And the same thing with the Reds. I agree. No interest in Chase Anderson at 7K. I think the Reds get to him. Chase Anderson needs to be against a bad team to have a good game. And the Reds are just not that team against righties. So, yeah, I like both sides as well.
Doesn't it seem like he's had some really some severe regression this year?
Oh yeah.
After last year not being terrible, he is the worst this year.
He was decent last. He's another one of those guys that I agree, took a huge step backwards. Next up, Dylan Covey of the Chicago White Sox visiting Giovanni Gallardo of the Texas Rangers. Total in this game is 10.5. The Rangers minus 135 at home. 99 degrees, 34% humidity. Typical 15-mile-per-hour winds blowing in from right, which we know typically is that wind tunnel effect. So great hitting environment once again, Johnny. What do you got?
Yeah, so are these White Sox pitchers, are they figuring things out? I mean, kind of scary. James Shields shuts down Minnesota. And then today, what was his name, Gaviglio? Had like a no-hitter going in like the sixth inning. So, and he looked better the last couple of games. Didn't end up working out for the White Sox today, but, hey, they've been pitching better. And Dylan Covey, he's been pitching better too. He's trying not to be that gas can on the slate. So, I think he's an okay pitcher, but I just think this is the wrong slate for him today. I know he's not expensive, but the worst thing you can do is go into Texas with a great hitting environment and you're a right-handed pitcher that has some tendencies to give up some home runs because there's a lot of lefties here in waiting. Really high total tomorrow. These lefties here, I think, are going to feast off of them tomorrow. I think Texas is firmly in play. Probably should have high ownership tomorrow. I just really want to see what the lineup they put out there is going to have. But if we can get Joey Gallo up to like fifth or sixth, I probably would go all in on him. Just too much power. And then on the other side here, I think the White Sox are firmly in play. Gallardo's just not good anymore. He's seen some better days. $4,600 says it all. This guy used to be elite here, but not there anymore. Yohan Moncada, just a lot of power. Leading off, we're going to get him from his good side, the left side. Definitely a great spot for him tomorrow. And then I really like these other bats here. Jose Abreu is going to move into a great hitting environment. He's cheap. You got Garcia and Palaka all going to be in great hitting environments. I think the White Sox are a great stack tomorrow too. I think you can do a game stack here as well. So I think everything's in play. No pitchers.
Yeah, man, definitely going to be, in my opinion anyway, a high-scoring slate, or at least it should be. This is another great hitting atmosphere. Dylan Covey, one thing I will say about him is he does have some pretty solid ground ball rates, but his last two games were rough. Cleveland beat him up, and then I think, I forgot who the last team was, but I think it was the A's. I think the Athletics beat him up. So that's a little concerning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to pitch him against the Rangers, but just something to throw out there. He does typically have a good ground ball rate. I still think guys like Shin-Soo Choo are on a roll right now. Even Odor is hitting home runs. Beltre's been pretty hot quietly. Like the Rangers are tough to pick on. And Gallardo, and listen, I know the White Sox suck, but this is a great hitting atmosphere. Gallardo is 4.6, so I'll dig in. I'll do some profiling tomorrow on the strategy session with the nation to see how the White Sox profile against Gallardo. But my first instinct is to say that the White Sox have been hitting a little bit better. I know they didn't do it today. Odorizzi looked great against them today. But Odorizzi does have not to get into that.
He's got that.
Yeah, he's got an 11% swinging strike rate. It's not just the White Sox. Like, he can get guys to swing and miss. Gallardo is not really that kind of guy. So my first
not anymore.
Not anymore, is to think that the White Sox are in play with a ballpark boost. Next up, Julio Teheran.
One thing, CK, you missed the hottest bat in this lineup here, Robinson Chirinos.
Yeah, he has been really
This
hot.
guy's red hot.
He's
red hot.
Yeah.
And nobody's playing him. You need to play him tomorrow.
Yeah, good call. Next up, Julio Teheran of the Atlanta Braves visiting Miles Mikolas of the St. Louis Cardinals. Total here is 8.5. St. Louis minus 150. At home, it's going to be 95 degrees, 56% humidity. I would imagine we're going to see some really nice dew points here. Another great hitting environment. It's just hot across America. What do you got?
Yeah, so a lot of people are going to go back and I think look at this game and say, "Oh, it's St. Louis Cardinals, a bunch of righties. We can throw a righty at them." Don't pitch Teheran tomorrow, please. Do not pitch Teheran. This is not a matchup for him. I know he's better against righties. I know the Cardinals have had issues this year with righties, but this is not the matchup. If you saw what the Cardinals did to Kluber a couple of games ago, understand that this is a good hitting team. Do not pitch Teheran tomorrow. I think Mikolas is okay tomorrow. I just don't like the weather here. There's a lot of lefties here with a lot of power that could definitely get to him. I don't think I can go here to Mikolas tomorrow. I think it's going to be a fade for me there, but I think all the bats are in play. I think you can go to everybody here. I definitely prefer, Matt Carpenter. He's just been on a hot streak. He's really expensive now. Who'd have thought in 2018 we were ever going to pay $5,000 for Matt Carpenter on DraftKings? So those days are coming here. He's at 4,900, almost a 5,000. He's a great play tomorrow. And Jose Martinez, professional hitter. Those are my two favorite guys here. On the other side, it's always Albies and it's always Freddie Freeman. They're always great plays. I don't know if I can afford them on this slate. I don't know if they're priority, but they're still good plays.
Yeah, I don't really have interest in Mikolas at 9.3, although I will say that he's the kind of pitcher that could give the Braves a hard time. He's that guy that's not really looking for the strikeout. He's pitching to contact. He's just trying to get you to hit the ball softly. So that bodes well for teams like the Braves because when guys try to strike them out, that's typically where they get beat because the Braves just don't really strike out. But if you're trying to get them to swing and trying to, almost use that against them, it could work. It is a great hitting environment, though, so it's kind of scary. And Mikolas is 9.3. So my first instinct is to say, no, I really don't like taking pitchers against the Braves. Anybody that knows me knows that. But this is one particular pitcher where it's like, if it wasn't such a great hitting atmosphere, maybe I'd consider it if we didn't have other options. We have so many other options, it'd be hard to settle here. But I'll throw that out there. It looks like Ozzy Albies also has a Q tag. So Ozzy Albies and Ender Inciarte both have Q tags, and Ronald Acuna is supposed to be coming back. So that's interesting because Ender Inciarte and Albies, obviously two left-handed bats that are, especially Albies, been they're solid, one of the better players this year. And then meanwhile, we got the return of Acuna, who while made some splashes when he came up, he actually does strike out a good amount. So we'll have some digging to do tomorrow. As far as Teheran, I think Teheran sucks. No way I'm paying 6.9 for him against the Cardinals. I know Tehran's better against righties, but just don't want to do it. A lot of these Cardinals happen to hit righties better than they hit lefties anyway. So the guys like Jose Martinez is a guy that likes to hit against righties. Matt Carpenter, definitely in a pretty prime spot here against Teheran, even at that expensive price tag. And Yadi Molina, man, that dude's been good to me all year. Yadi Molina has been good to me all year. I'll
I
bet
think he's
you
got more double dongs from than any other catcher this year.
he's just been crushing for me, man. Like that dude is awesome. If I see Yadi Molina, I'm buying him a beer. Like I don't even drink, but I'll buy my man a beer. Like he's earned it with me. He's earned it with me. You know, you would think that Ozuna should have some BVP against right? Oh yeah. Check this out. Marcell Ozuna, because he was on the Marlins, division rival. 17 for 42 with 3 home runs, 7 strikeouts. He's got a 405 average and a 262 WOBA in 42 at bats. Marcell Ozuna. Interesting. Moving on, we've got Andrew Suarez of Johnny the Greek, San Francisco Giants, visiting Patrick Corbin of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Total here is 8. Arizona minus 140 at home. I'm going to start calling the Giants the John Gray Killers. I'm just going to refer to them as that going forward because they just own that dude. Anyway, Johnny, what do you think here?
Yeah, so I think this game is both these pitchers. I have some interest in both of them. And as far as definitely if the roof is closed, I have some interest here in GBPs. His price. I don't think he's a bad pitcher. And Diamondbacks can definitely struggle here against left-handed pitching a little bit. They don't throw out the A lineup here when it's the lefties here. So I think he's fine. On the other side, we got Patrick Corbin, 11-9 tomorrow. Like I guess he's fine. I just don't know if I can go there in cash. We got a couple other pitches that we've talked about already, and one coming up here pretty soon. So it's really the battle. I'm going to have to do a little bit more in looking into this, but the Giants aren't really a team that I like to, pitch against. They're just a really pesky team. They don't strike out a lot, and they create a lot of problems. They have the highest batting average, of any team in baseball. People forget that. Always think they're a bad team. They're just a pitch to contact kind of a team. Not a lot of power here. So they're not a team that's going to hit a lot of home runs, but they're going to hit for a lot of contact. So that's the way their lineup's built. So I don't know if I'm going to go here tomorrow. I'm probably not going to take the Giants. There's just not enough home run upside for me. I don't know if I can go to Corbin playing against the pesky Giants. So I think for me this is going to be a wait and see. Do a little bit more research here and dig in a little bit deeper before I make my decisions.
Yeah, Corbin's been a little bit of a mystery this year. And some of the matchups that you think he would do well in, he gets bombed, right? Like, he plays the Mets twice this year. The Mets, like, one of the worst teams in the league against lefties. And he gives up home runs to, like, Conforto, another lefty. It's like, anyway. But then he plays the Pirates, a team that really doesn't strike out a ton. And he goes out there and just dominates.
He strikes everybody else.
You just don't really know what to expect. I will say that he's had some pretty good games here against the Giants. The Giants are a team that lately I've been staying away from with pitchers. John Gray, I was kind of just like, who else are you going to play? But, normally I try not to take pitchers against the Giants. But I will say that it does neutralize Belt and Crawford a little bit, who have been two of the Giants' hotter hitters. But we do get Yorkis Hernandez in there, who is definitely a strikeout liability. He's got a pretty high strikeout rate. But it's still tough to take pitchers against the Giants, because even their lefties don't really strike out against other lefties. So Corbin at 11.9, he's cheaper than all those other arms, so he's a maybe for me as well. I do think Andrew Suarez is an option. It's funny because you look and it's like, but who would want to take a lefty against Paul Goldschmidt? But it's like, if you think about it, when you have a righty against the D-backs, you're worried about Jake Lamb, Peralta, Descalso, and Paul Goldschmidt anyway. When you're playing a lefty against them, you're really only worried about Paul Goldschmidt and maybe a John Ryan Murphy. Then the guy, their better lefty hitters are a Nick Ahmed and a Ketel Marte. And I'm not trying to downplay those guys, but I think that the Lamb, Peralta, and Descalso is just more intimidating to me than a Nick Ahmed and Marte, right? Because Goldschmidt, you're scared of either way.
Sure.
So I think
and John Murphy's been really cold too. Yeah. Don't forget that.
He's been really cold.
We forgot John Jay at the top has been hitting really well ever since he got traded too.
Yeah. And then when you have a lefty against them, you end up John Jay is obviously going to struggle a little bit more against lefties. You got Jake Lamb might not even play. They might play that Marrero guy. And then if you get Mathis...
And then Peralta.
Peralta. Yeah. If you get Mathis in the lineup, you officially have the Arizona Death Squad. And so I think that Suarez is an option, oddly enough. Anyway, Trevor Bauer of the Cleveland Indians visiting Paul Blackburn of the Oakland Athletics. Total in this game sits at 8. Oakland plus 155 at home. 72 degrees, 53% humidity. What do you got here?
Yeah, this is another ace that we have here. That's $13,000 or more. We have definitely a tough decision tomorrow to make. Trevor Bauer, looks a legit ace. I remember months ago when he, started getting priced at this price. I just couldn't believe it. But he's definitely proved it. I do prefer him at home more than on the road in general. I just like the Indians are just a much better team. But this is a nice ballpark for him. The Athletics, big ballpark. So I think he can have a great game here against these Athletics. I'm not really worried too much about the Athletics' power here being in the bigger stadium. I think this is going to depress some home runs for him. So I think that you can definitely look at Bauer as an elite play tomorrow. I think right now, just off the top of my head, it looks like between Bauer and DeGrom. I think DeGrom's got a little bit better of a matchup against Miami, of course, but I think those are the two guys that we're probably going to be looking at in cash. On the other side here, Paul Blackburn, he's not terrible, but he's not great. He's just a pitch-to-contact kind of guy. But, the Indians have really struggled away from home this year. And they've been in some really big spots, big totals, where they should excel, and they just didn't. But a lot of lefties here, man. I hate to throw a right-handed pitcher against the Indians. It's just not, I think, a recipe for success. So I'm going to fade, Paul Blackburn. But I think I'll have some interest in some of these Indians bats on this slate. I think they're going to go low owns. I always like a low owned Cleveland Indians stack. I think they'll go low and just be based on the other totals here. So I'll go here tomorrow in a couple of GPPs.
Yeah, I think Bauer at 13-3 is intriguing. I'll leave it at that. He's got a great ballpark boost here going to Oakland, great pitchers park. He's got an Oakland team that can strike out. We know that they're more than capable of striking out. They're a little worse against lefties, but they still strike out. So Bauer's interesting at 13-3. I think he's a little bit too expensive, but he's been damn consistent. This dude's put up 430s in a row. I understand it's against the White Sox and the Tigers. I get it, but he has been pretty damn good. And when the A's are home, at times they can be as bad as those teams too. So,
sure.
The problem is if I'm already going to pay 13-3 for Bauer, why wouldn't I go to DeGrom, who's just $300 more? That's the issue, right? DeGrom is right there, and you're just maybe I'll just go with DeGrom against Miami. But as far as Blackburn goes, I don't want to pitch him, I don't think, even at 4-8. But at the same time, I don't know how vested I want to get on Cleveland on a 14-game slate. If this was a smaller slate, I'd probably be a little bit more interested. But on a 14-game slate, I don't know if I want to play that game with them. It's are you going to suck? As good as you are, you're going to suck on the road today? I don't think I want to play that game on a 14-game slate. But obviously, they should be able to tattoo Paul Blackburn. If this game was in Cleveland, they would tattoo Paul Blackburn. Yeah, I agree. He's a pitch to contact. Cleveland's just, okay, sure, bam. They would just match him. It's just, for some reason, these guys just suck on the road. I don't know. They must be getting that good stuff when they play in Cleveland. Anyway. Maybe. Tyler Anderson of the Colorado Rockies visiting Rich Hill of Patio Joe's Los Angeles Dodgers. Total here is 7.5. LA minus 160 at home. 73 degrees, 56% humidity out in Los Angeles, where you can find Johnny the Greek and Patio Joe. What do you got?
Yeah, so, not a lot of interest in Tyler Anderson. I just don't think against the Dodgers it's a great matchup. Rich Hill, on the other hand, is cheap. It's just his health issues are always a concern with the blisters. How far is he going to go? How deep is he going to go? What kind of leash does he have tomorrow? I think this is a great matchup against the Rockies, at home in LA. I'm always concerned whenever it's a righty against the Rockies, because then you got Charlie Blackburn. I think you get a little bit more power. When it's a lefty going against them, it's Arenado and Story are the two big bats you have to worry about. Unfortunately, you got so many power bats here in Colorado. you gotta kind of pick and choose your poison. I'd rather have a lefty against them and take the home run from Arenado because Story does strike out a lot. So that being said, for me, it's going to be maybe some Rich Hill tomorrow, and the Dodgers possibly. No Tyler Anderson, no Rockies for me. I think we can do a little bit better than Rich Hill tomorrow. But yeah, I think we got a game coming up here we'll talk about.
Yeah, I think at 7-7, I'd be willing to go back to Rich Hill. I know he looked really good in that one against the Cubs. Then he didn't look so good against the Mets, which is a little alarming. But I'd be willing to give another shot here at home against the Rockies. I am definitely afraid of Nolan Arenado. However, like you said, that they do typically strike out a little bit more. Of course, LeMahieu obviously puts a damper into that. But I think Rich Hill is in play at 7-7. I do think Arenado is still fine. I think Desmond and LeMahieu are where I'd probably go. And this Tom Murphy dude, I've been talking about him for a while. I would play him. But these are all guys, they can strike out. So I still think Rich Hill is a decent option if you're not into the Rockies. And no Tyler Anderson for me. The Dodgers have actually beat him up pretty good. And the Dodgers, again, man, one of the hottest teams in the league right now. At least for a home run. Max Muncy is just a monster. He is not from this planet. That guy's... I can't believe the A's let that guy go. He's just a freak.
All that power the A's had, imagine if they would have kept Muncy, right?
Oh, my gosh, man. That guy, he's so good. Justin Turner hit a home run today. Like, Matt Kemp should be in the lineup against the lefty. Chris Taylor came back, and he looked pretty good today. The Dodgers just look good right now.
I think when you refer to Matt Kemp, you have to refer to him as the Ageless Wonder from now on.
The Ageless Wonder. Okay, I mean, I'm with it. Next up, Johnny, we got Ian Kennedy of the Kansas City Royals visiting Marco Gonzalez of the Seattle Mariners. Total here is 8. Seattle minus 215 at home. 68 degrees, 66% humidity. Typical Seattle weather. What do you got?
Yeah, so this is just another one of those pitchers that we have in this, mid 7K range that's in play tomorrow. Marco Gonzalez against the Royals in Seattle. I definitely like. I think he's definitely in play. Marco Gonzalez is a pretty good pitcher. This is a great matchup for him. Definitely can go here. Seattle's a big ballpark. It's not a ballpark you're going to really be worried about a lot of home runs, just like Kansas City. So I think it's going to kind of depress the guys that would normally have a possibility of hitting a home run, especially with the lefty-lefty matchup. I'm not really worried about Moustakas here. Sal Perez is probably the one bat that I would be most worried about. But, this big ballpark, I'm not concerned about it. And I think Gonzalez's skill set can get him around there. So no Royals for me tomorrow. Definitely no Ian Kennedy. Marco Gonzalez is definitely on my list here. And then the Mariners. Mariners have been heating up. It's crazy that today in Baltimore we were paying $5,600 for Nelson Cruz. So I see tomorrow that they got some price decreases here. So that's a little bit better, a little bit more affordable bats tomorrow. But these Mariners have been hot. I definitely like the Mariners tomorrow. I think they're a great play against Ian Kennedy and the Royals. Yeah,
I like the Mariners. They should be really low owned. Not a great atmosphere for hitting. Maybe I would save them for the late slate. But if I was having trouble finding a stack on the early, which I don't think you will, there's so many great spots. I would definitely consider that Seattle. I know it's not a great park, but Ian Kennedy is a great guy to give up home runs. You had mentioned Johnny. Seattle is red hot right now. Nelson Cruz, though he was expensive, hit a home run. And a lot of these guys did have the day off. Well, not a lot of them, but I know Kyle Seager had the day off and Denard Span didn't play either. So those guys should be pretty fresh despite the travel. But I don't know if I would go there first just because they did travel all the way from the East Coast and, all that jazz. Plus, it's a big ballpark. And Marco Gonzalez is interesting. At 7-8, he seems a little expensive, but the Royals have just been that team that you just want to stream pitchers against lately. They've just not just Peralta. Peralta's a freak, so he put up a freak number, but just in general, everybody seems to have a good game these days against the Royals. So I totally get it, especially him being back at home. Last game here, Johnny. Joe Musgrove of the Pittsburgh Pirates visiting Eric Lauer, the lefty from the San Diego Padres. Total in this game, no line available because I think the Padres were late to announce Lauer. But 67 degrees, 71% humidity. What do you think?
Yeah, so the Padres showed you that good hitting weather doesn't mean they're going to become good hitters. So the Padres just a no for me tomorrow. Lauer, just a no for me. Joe Musgrove is a yes. This is a great matchup for him tomorrow. I like him. It's just another one of those guys in that 70, mid-7 range here, mid to higher. So, we have some decisions to make tomorrow when we're looking at these guys, but I like him a lot tomorrow. Not a huge fan of, ever of Pittsburgh. Just not a fan of their offense, especially in this big ballpark. So probably not going to go here with some offense, but I definitely like Joe Musgrove tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, man. I love Joe Musgrove against the Padres. I think he's a pretty good pitcher. He's 7'6". He's cheaper than Marco Gonzalez. And the Padres, man, I really only like to take them, one, when they're in good ballparks, and two, against lefties. They just have guys like Will Myers, Perella, Margot. These are all guys, and Hunter Renfroe, obviously. These are all guys that are better against lefties. When it comes down to them against righties, everybody takes a big step back, and then you're relying on guys like Eric Hosmer, who, don't get me wrong, I don't think Eric Hosmer's a terrible player, but I don't think he doesn't have a ton of power. You're relying on Travis Jankowski, who's more of walk, single, try to steal the base. It's
slap hitter.
There's just nothing there. So Musgrove against the Padres, I do love, especially now that the Padres are back in San Diego. Great park, great
big ballpark.
Yes,
yeah,
I like
absolutely.
it. And as far as the Pirates, they're just too big of a ballpark. They don't have enough power for me to typically. I think you could take some of these guys, but again, another situation I would save for the late slate. But I do like Musgrove a lot. And that is going to do it for the game-by-game breakdown. At this point, I'm going to remind everybody, if you haven't already, check us out at whitesnake.com. I don't know what you're waiting for. Tomorrow is a great day to check us out. We will have a strategy session around 1 p.m. Eastern. We will have Johnny the Greek's Cash Game article. We will have, I think Cash and DFS is on the Y stream tomorrow, so I'll be writing the GPP article. I think we're going to have Paulie, hopefully we'll have Paulie and Cash on the Y stream tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes, if not, I'll be myself. But anyway, should be a great day to come check us out, Rock with the Nation. The expert poll is a phenomenal thing we've been doing. We're going to keep that going tomorrow. You get a couple of our analysts answer 8 key questions for the slate. And you get those key questions answered right there in one article. Who's your favorite cash game pitcher, your favorite GPP pitcher. You kind of get everything kind of laid out and see what everybody else is doing. And then from there you can make your own determinations. But it's a great thing, man. We're here to help you win. A lot of our members are winning. A lot of our staff, our staff is winning. The members are winning. Everybody's winning. It's just an awesome place right now. Awesome place to be. And again, guys, we like to get hands-on with our guys. That's what the strategy session is for, all those kind of things. We do offer different things out there, so come rock with us, come check us out. $2.50 is all it costs to try us out for one day. You want to try us out for a day? $2.50, all it takes. Not a bad investment on the night if you're playing DFS anyway. Johnny, time to do some top threes, my man. Who are your top 3 pitchers? I know there are a lot of expensive guys out there today, so it's kind of hard to make those tough decisions, but let's do it. Who are your top 3?
Yeah, so on the bottom tier, the cheaper guys, I like Joe Musgrove a lot tomorrow. He looks really good to me right now. And then I'm probably going to say DeGrom. I like him. And probably going to go with Bauer. I think those are probably the three guys I like the best as of right now.
I'm going to go definitely with Musgrove. I do like him for sure. Then I'm going to take a chance on a cheap guy like Marcus Stroman, I think. And then for my third option, I'll pick one of the expensive guys because we do have some elite arms. And these are all the guys that have the ceiling. I do think they're expensive, and I'm going to try not to. But, obviously, if you can't find somebody who's going to make it work, sometimes you have to take the raw point ceiling kind of guy. And I would side with Jacob deGrom on that as well. But I'm gonna try to pay down if I can find. I didn't see a ton that I loved in that mid-tier range, but I'm gonna try. Anyway, top 3 stacks, Johnny. What do you think?
Yeah, so for the 3 stacks here, we definitely want to take a look at this Texas White Sox situation. I think this is a great hitting environment. Rangers look really good here. I think the White Sox. I think both teams are in play for stacks, but I'm definitely going to side with the Rangers here. Next one is going to be I'm going to go with the Angels tomorrow. I think this is a breakout spot for them tomorrow. Mike Trout, I heard some rumblings that he might be back in the field tomorrow. So once he starts playing in the outfield again, he's in play for me, as a hitter. So then because he can throw a ball, if he can throw a ball, he can hit a ball. So I definitely like that. So we'll see. And the last one is going to be the Yankees. I think the Yankees are in a phenomenal spot here tomorrow against Rodriguez. Rodriguez is a pitcher that a lot of guys love to play him in GPPs. I think he's going to get some ownership tomorrow, so I'm definitely going to go there tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely the Yankees probably my favorite stack so far. I'll go with the Dodgers because they've been hot, and then it's really tough to not like the Angels against David Hess. So I have to go with the Angels as well. All right, dog watch time, Johnny. Who's going yard?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you guys a weird one because everybody seems to like when I give the random ones, but let's see. I'll get to that one last. We'll do that one last. First one here, I'm going to go with Matt Carpenter. He's red hot lately. I like him against Tehran tomorrow.
All right. I will go with Mr. Give me some Gleyber Torres from the Yankees.
That guy's so good. Let's see. Let's see. No, I don't like that. All right, we're gonna go with Brandon Crawford tomorrow against the lefty.
There you go.
He's been hot.
That's contrarian as hell for sure. Lefty on lefty. I will go with Luis Valbuena from the Angels. Who's your last pick, Johnny?
Yeah, if you thought that was contrarian, here you go. Hunter Pence.
Hunter Pence?
He's going to hit one tomorrow.
It does, I think he has some BVP off Corbin, right?
He's got BVP and he's been heating up, so I like him a lot.
All right.
Yeah.
And then for my last and final pick, I am going to go with Mr. Scott Schebler of the Cincinnati Reds. And there you go. Nice little...
If he makes the lineup.
Yeah, if he makes the lineup. I don't think he was hurt. I think he just took a day of rest. Is he hurt? I don't see any Q tag by his name or anything.
Yeah, I thought he was hurt. He didn't play today because he was hurt.
Oh, okay, we'll see. I don't see a Q tag, but if he plays, Scott Schebler. And that is going to do it for the Wise Take DFS podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up, that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you are watching on Facebook, give us a like, give us a share, support the Wise Take Nation. If you're watching us on Twitch or Twitter, give us a follow, give us a retweet. We greatly appreciate it. And if you're listening on Podbean or iTunes, give us some 5-star reviews, help bump us up those charts. No matter what format you are watching or listening to us on, it really helps us out when you show us some love. So do what you got to do, whatever the platform is. It means a lot to us, helps us continue to do these free shows for you guys. And we want to continue. We want the industry to succeed. Don't forget to check us out at whitestake.com if you want to start changing your approach to DFS and start learning how to win some money. Johnny, anything in closing before we get up out of here?
No, I just wanted to give one more plug for the strategy sessions in the morning. Lots of help to the nation. The members are loving it. It's helping them make a lot of money. So it's a great tool. It's that alone is worth their membership. So yeah.
Nicely said, Johnny. So for Johnny the Greek, for myself, the entire Wise Take Nation, as always, good luck.
Ship it. Yeah.